Hey everyone, today we're having a look at a genuine RNS Larsons player's bat. This has actually been sent through from RNS themselves. They found the page and they actually want my honest assessment with no caveats on what I think of the bat. They've done exactly what I normally say on the page. Just send me the bat and you pay the freight to and from. I'll do the review. The review is my cost. So if you don't know, RNS have been around for a while. You would have seen them sponsoring international players. You can buy their bats. Well, they've got obviously their RNSLarsons.com, but more recently they've been doing auctions on Facebook. I will put the link to that in the description of this video. And because of the auction method, they put a base price on and you bid for it. And if you win it, you buy it. Because of that, I don't really have a price for this bat. We've got here a blade which has got a tiny little slither of heartwood. We've got a little bit of marbling, a little bit of speck here. Slightly uneven grains, but on the narrow side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 grains. So lots of grains. Looking down the shoulders, you can see those grains are nice and straight and natural. They do skew on the back a little bit, so you get this skewing effect on the back. And if we look through the toe, because there's no toe guard, you can see this situation where it's skewing off towards this end, which would be your heartwood end. So the center of the tree would be somewhere around here, and you can see the grains basically coming through to here. Now that grain there, which doesn't actually go all the way through, could potentially be a weak point on the bat, because it's basically here to here is that whole slither of wood. It's generally a low middle. I did the measurements on it before, so we had about a 38mm edge, 29mm toe, 26mm at the edges, 16 I think, or 14, and 40 in the center here. Let's put it through the gauge. And getting a little bit of clearance, a little bit of concaving, maybe a millimetre, not much. And on this side, the face camber is probably about 3mm. So it's on the flat side. I have had people raise to me in the past concerns about RNS about the handles. I will say that it's about 40mm here at the top of the shoulder. And it's a nice, actually it's a really nice feeling handle, oval shape here, round at the top. Those shoulders are reduced because we've got wood taken out in this area here. And I'll just do the twist test on it. And there is a little bit of twist there, but not anything dramatic. Not like some of bats that I've had that have really twisted badly. Roll down the grip and you can see here that their handles, they use the 3 inserts. They're a rubber, quite thick, genuine Singapore cane handle. He confirmed that for me. I can feel some glue on the handle. If you are concerned that your handle's flexing, what you can do is just take your grip off and just add a little bit more glue. The glue obviously adds weight to the bat, but it will provide it with a stiffer feel. Having a little bit of flex in it gives you that sort of whippiness through the handle, and a lot of players like that feel. Look, it's not dramatic. I'm not able to really get many degrees of travel in there when I'm trying to twist. I think you've seen some videos online where they're getting like 4 or 5 degrees, and I'm not seeing that with this bat. Cool thing about this, which is apples with apples, width 4 1/4 inches. Something like a Zelos or something that might be similar to, maybe, even though you've got this saying that's where your middle position is. It's obvious the edges are peaking here, although they draw down a little bit, but there's not a lot of wood in this position here. So I would expect all the action to be condensed down into this part of the bat. General opinion on the finish of the bat. I do like the minimalist stickers. Silver on black looks good. There's no real major texturing or something like that, but I mean, you look at something like a Salix and they don't have anything dramatic going on there, reminiscent of, you know, the dots thing going on here is very Salixy, but it's got Larsons written in there, players, and nice big Larsons on the back with minimal detail and Larsons.com. So I actually don't mind the look of it. It's actually a clean looking bat. I know I expressed a little bit of concern about this little piece here, but that's something that you could probably just tape the toe across, put some scuff sheet on it, and try not to slog the ball and nick off, you know, like that's pretty much a given. I think it's quite nice. I don't know how much it costs, but I do know that generally on their auctions, you know, you're getting bats delivered for about 200 US. Maybe this would fall into that sort of price range. So bang for buck, I think you're getting a pretty good deal with the Larsons, and that's the other bit of feedback I've had. You know, they go, whether they last more than 3 years is another question, but most of us who watch this channel like bats, and I don't think our bats last for 2 years before we change them over to something else, so does that really matter? I don't actually think much of the case. They've actually supplied it in a plastic sleeve. If you do have cases like this, keep them in the plastic, because if the willow sweats inside the case, particularly this style of lining, it's quite often you'll get black bleach onto the bat, and I'm not 100% sure that these do it. You're quite welcome to comment any general opinions you have about RNS. You know, the manufacturer is listening and wanting honest feedback, so put that in there. Yeah, look, it's not bad. I did see a few little sanding marks down here through the toe. It looks like some maybe 180 grit has come through here and just sort of finished off the toe, and when they've oiled it, those sanding marks have become more prominent. It's not unusual for me in the shed when I'm cleaning up bats for that to happen to me. I would like to see a little bit more attention to detail as far as the sanding, but the B3 that I just reviewed today, which probably go up before this, and that had some marks. They weren't as prominent. This is the Phantom here that's I've oiled and just finished knocking, and you can see there's no sort of lines and things like that. The question sometimes, why would that bother you when you're probably going to throw away the cover and chuck it in your bag with your helmet? Those things are just aesthetic. General player who just throws the bat in their bag, gets back to bowling after their net session, does that really matter? Let's tap it up. So as usual, we'll start down at the toe and we'll work our way up. So it's quite hard down at the toe, which I like. I would not like to see a really soft toe that's going to crack. And it goes straight into the middle, very low position middle. Forming right there in that mid-low position. And as that spine draws up, so it's just sort of petering out there. So just about where that last sticker is, you've got from a mid to mid-low position middle. Not going to get a lot up here. It's going to be condensed down into where that swell is. But it's quite a good middle. Quite a tap. Do the weight. So the bat weighs 210. And in my hands, it does feel light, to be honest. Because it's got quite reasonable shoulders here and a fairly thick handle, not thin, it doesn't pick up too bad at all for 210. Very wieldable, something you can play your full range of shots. And the other thing is you can see that bow that's there right in that mid-low position. The edges themselves left those edges sharp, so it would still need to be prepared. Look, they do that as a manufacturer because you guys are so infatuated with a couple of millimeters here or there at the edge. The most important thing is what's going on in the middle of the bat, not what's going on at the edge. But you know, this test seems to be really important. And if I hit a ball here in the nets, it's not going to feel like I've hit it here. So what does it really matter what's going on here? Isn't it more important what's actually happening where you're trying to hit the ball? The bat will actually, well, we haven't worked it out, but it's not my bat, it's RNS Larsons. It will probably be something that can be auctioned and anybody here in Australia can purchase it. And if he gives me a link specifically to this bat, that will be in the description as well, with a indicative price of what it may go for. At the moment, I don't know that detail. Turn the camera around, we'll bounce the ball. Okay, as usual, we'll start with the 4-piece ball. It actually feels alright up the top. So the tap up hasn't really proved anything. think if you were just going to punch a ball through a gap, you'd still have a bit of action there. Not bad. Not bad at all. So I am getting seam marks there. So this definitely needs to be knocked in. We'll do the dukes now and they'll be even deeper. Wow, that's quite good there. Nice middle. Not bad. So check out the seam marks. Not much deeper, yeah, but it definitely needs to be oiled, knocked in, the edges done. The pressing I'm actually impressed with, to be honest. It's quite good, and you can see by the specs being 210 and not having ridiculous specifications for 210. I don't think this has been too heavily dried. So we've got the dark edition. I'll just put that side by side. Normally the dark edition is a shorter blade, and you can see there it's 1 centimetre shorter. So that's the standard blade length. So yeah, thank you very much to RNS Larsons for using the page for what it's for. That's the RNS players. Hopefully they'll use the page in the future to introduce new models for you. RNS.